going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, when it comes to an update on the EA Sports college football game, I think there's about 12,000 student athletes that have signed up for it to use their likeness, which is pretty cool. So there's going to be a lot of guys going to be able to play with it or playing right now in college. But I think they have about 2 more weeks until there's an opt-out or opt-in period that ends a deadline. And then after that, they're pretty much just going to make created fake/avatar of you if you don't sign up. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that turns out. I think the last time there was an update, it was only like about 5,000 or 6,000. So it's definitely doubled since. So we'll see who ends up officially in there when it comes out at some point this summer. Then there was a 4-star linebacker from Miami, I believe. His name is Elijah Melendez. And he did set up an official visit to USC. I think it was June 7th to the 9th. So yeah, it's one of those big weekends in June. So yeah, I know he's been kind of pretty much saying everything, the same thing after every school he's been to. I know he went to Michigan recently, and he did say that it was going to be hard to not pick Michigan, even though he is already committed to the University of Miami. So I don't know how that really works out and how it all comes together if you're a fan of him and you're a fan of the Miami Hurricanes and he's supposed to be committed to your school and he's already saying stuff like that. So might be the same thing being said in a couple months when he's at USC, but if they do get him, then at least they will get a very talented player on their roster in the near future. And there was one of the top cornerbacks in last year's 2024 class, Cormani McClain, who recently entered the portal after 1 year at Colorado. And I didn't really see USC having much interest in him just because it was kind of like a big old thing for him just to even get to Colorado. A lot of ups and downs and stuff with that, and maybe him not even showing up to practice on time or classes and stuff while at Colorado. But apparently it looks like USC is showing some interest. Some insiders said to look out for both USC and University of South Florida. So I don't know, we'll see. He's definitely one of their prototypical type of cornerbacks, over 6 foot, very tall and lanky, but a good enough defender, I guess, but he doesn't tackle well. He has some of the worst tackling stats as of last year. Yeah, he was a freshman last year, but if he was considered that good, a 5-star player in 2024, then he should still have some talent in there. So I guess we'll see what ends up happening with him and if he does end up at USC or not. And there was a couple other players that USC is showing interest or them showing interest in them. It was a TCU defensive tackle, Dominic Williams. There's a Louisville defensive lineman, Jermaine Lele, who did set up an April official visit, I think on the 26th, something like that. So coming up pretty soon. I think he was at ASU and played against USC a couple years ago. Has been at Louisville and now maybe looking to come play back on the West Coast. So that'll be pretty good for them if they could get that type of player, especially on the defensive line. There was another player in the Pittsburgh Edge, in Deion Hayes, who set up a April 19th through the 21st visit to USC, which is this weekend. So he'll definitely be there for the spring game. I know he's one of the top-rated edge players in the transfer portal as we speak. So for them to be able to get, once again, another guy, very talented guy on that defensive line, it will help them out a bunch. Then there was a wide receiver out there who is a 4-star, Javon Bogues. He recently put out a top 7 and has USC in that top 7. So yes, at least they're on the finals list for a lot of these top talented receivers. I don't know exactly how many more they're going to bring in to next year's class, but yeah, they're definitely going after still a lot of the talented ones in the 2025 class, so we will see. And there's a local California women's basketball player, Brooklyn Shamblin. I believe I'm saying that last name correct. She did recently sign with the 2025 recruiting class, which I didn't really know she was committed. I think she had committed at some point last year, but was officially signed because maybe she didn't know exactly how many spots were going to be there on the roster coming up soon next year. So looks like they will be able to have room. And I think she's one of those players from Kobe Bryant's Mamba Academy, which is pretty cool. Obviously, a very talented player to be able to get into that program. And I think she even had mentioned at the time of their passing that some of her best friends were part of that helicopter crash and dedicated her playing career to them as well. So yeah, someone who has that Mamba mentality, especially like that on the women's side, and I definitely want her on my team. So we'll see how she can do in the more coming future. And then USC apparently has the most drafted offensive linemen when it comes to the NFL at 123 overall, which is pretty crazy. Obviously, a lot of the more recent guys haven't panned out as much to stay out there. I know a couple guys have, like in Miami. I think they're both playing in Miami, Jackson and a couple of those guys. But yeah, as of late, they've been at least getting drafted or making rosters here and there. So there is some talent still out there coming out of USC. And the Chargers signed ex-Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins to a one-year deal. Pretty much another prove-it type of deal, even though he is a young guy. But ever since he came into the NFL, he's always been hurt pretty recently. So that sucks. I knew I liked him a lot coming out of Ohio State for the Chargers. But I think they had dodged a bullet at the time because, like I said, it seemed like every year he was getting hurt at impromptu times. And it just ended up derailing not only his season, but couldn't help his team get farther into the playoffs. So I hear he's 100% healthy. I think they knew that before they brought him in. Obviously, he knows a lot of the coaching staff and played with the other running back on the team, Gus Edwards, that they signed over the summer or over the last couple of months. So we'll see how it ends up working out. Hopefully he can stay healthy as well as a Charger now. And then I believe it was today or the other day that it was announced that Brock Bowers, the top tight end in the NFL draft, will be visiting the Chargers, who was a guy I liked a lot last year. If he was going to come out, he went back to college, and I still like him this year. Even at that number 5 overall pick, I would still select him. It would be tough to select him if, like, say, a Marvin Harrison Jr. was there, that wide receiver. I might select him over Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors. Right now, Malik Neighbors is kind of like a flip of the coin. I know that's kind of crazy to say, but that's just my opinion. That's just how special I think Brock Bowers can be, not only at the tight end position, but just a weapon you could use on offense all over the place. So yeah, it's pretty cool that they're still having him in. At least they have some interest in him still, so that's good to see. And I believe they were just recently handing out like a lot of the Team USA's, all the 12 guys were selected officially. I'll get into that more, the full list later, but of course 2 Lakers were selected. Both LeBron James and Anthony Davis will be representing Team USA in the Olympics this summer. I know they were pretty much the guys who spearheaded all of the main stars to kind of try to commit last summer when they saw the little bit of a younger crew from the NBA lose in those world championships or whatever, FIBA stuff. So they kind of wanted to get the band back together. Some of the last guys to most likely be playing for Team USA get another gold, and kind of most of those guys end up retiring and leave it for those younger guys to be able to step up in 4 years from now. But yeah, it's definitely looking like a really great roster, and USA should definitely win the gold this summer, in my opinion. And then, yeah, there was a pretty controversial thing that came out. I guess it's controversial, even though most people are probably saying that are the people that don't follow not only women's sports, but the WNBA, and when it comes to their money and contracts, because I think it came out that Caitlin Clark, who was obviously the main star of women's college basketball the past couple of seasons, and her contract info was out recently where I think she's getting like $300 and something thousand, which is nothing to sneeze at. And I don't know if that's per year or over the course of her contracts of a couple years, but it's just showing the fact that the women's game, even professionally, is not that popular. And it's obvious that on the men's side, they're able to get $1 million contracts for most of their players because every team is allotted like $100 and something million per season. I'm pretty sure the WNBA teams aren't given that, even how little bit of teams there are in the WNBA compared to the NBA, but that's just how popular the main NBA is. Yes, this could definitely help getting some more talented, well-known players to play in the WNBA, and I think that's kind of like why a lot of those even star players too will, after the WNBA season is over, will go and play overseas in the off season to be able to make some more money, because that is probably more money they will get in that year compared to their WNBA contract. So as long as you're still a fan of her stardom, Caitlin Clark or whoever you're following this year in college who did just get recently drafted, and you continue to go to the games in the WNBA and buy their clothing and jerseys and all that stuff and support them, then they'll most likely end up getting, raises in their pay and all that stuff, some bump ups, and everything will be looking nice. I don't think they'll ever get to the men's side because that's going to be pretty tough. Even the men's, it took a while to get to those type of contracts, but this could definitely help out raise at least the paying standard throughout the WNBA, so that's all we can hope for. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.